for you guys both a little time off and then kind of getting to reassess or reevaluate or continue to work on some of those offensive things?
Yeah, certainly. It's been a positive to have multiple bye weeks, just in general. One, from a self-scout standpoint, and then two, obviously for us, whether we're playing younger players and getting cutters many reps as we can, that's been a benefit of us where we're at right now.
We've heard a lot about this self-scout idea, but for those who may not have that idea on their plate or for fans, like what does that actually look like? What does that process look like for you guys?
Yeah, it looks, the groups you put in there, 11 personnel, 12 personnel, how much do you run it? How much do you throw it? What are the tendencies with alignments? It gives you an opportunity to quickly watch the last 3-4 years of third downs and see what similarities show up, whether it's, since we've been here or even going further back. And so it just gives you an opportunity, again, to sit down, watch the rest of the league, see where you're struggling, see where everybody else is struggling, and put the best plan together to have success.
Well, Coach, we all know Texas's defense is very good, maybe even elite. But does it give you any confidence knowing that Cutter was able to put some nice drives and throws together against them last year in just, I think, his second game as a college player?
Yeah, there's confidence there. I think there's also confidence in just him continuing to get better week in and week out, and I think we've seen that. Again, I think, the things that you almost can't work on, I think he has a lot of those things, which you either have it or you don't. And so I think that's been a huge positive for us. I think he's playing confident. We got to keep building around him to make him as successful as we can.
It sounded like those freshman receivers, Cam and DJ in particular, probably got some more reps last week. What have you seen from them as you try and figure out that rotation at that position?
I think Cam in particular, what he went in there versus Georgia and did, again, as a freshman, we talk about those things you can't teach. For a guy to go into that moment, John, as you know, he's a guy who got here in July. It wasn't a guy that early enrolleed, and for him to go out there and play fast and go make plays, it was one of the few times we really felt like, man, he's going after the ball and making plays. And so certainly need to keep building with that. DJ's another guy we're excited about. He's been banged up a little bit, but really valuable for him to get out there and get those extra reps.
Cutter said after that Georgia game he felt very comfortable with the way you called that game. How do you feel like now in terms of knowing what he can do, what the rest of the offense can do with him, and kind of sticking to those things at this point?
Yeah, there's certainly more comfort. I think we were able to get him more completions, get the ball out of his hand quickly. It's going to be a continual thing for us on creating explosive plays, and I think oftentimes you look at, from a self-scout standpoint, like 75% or the number of being really high where you think an explosive play was created has not come off of necessarily throwing it down the field or making those explosive calls. They come off of regular plays where guys are making people miss, similar to us last week where our biggest gain was us throwing a now screen to Kendrick Law, him breaking tackles. Next thing you know, it's a 38-yard gain. And so that's always going to be the thing for us is continuing to get him as comfortable as we can, but working on creating those explosive plays.
What's sort of not the key, but what's the point of emphasis to Cutter to make sure that it is growth forward and not sort of take 2 steps forward, 1 step back sort of deal?
Yeah, I think it's being as decisive as possible. I think for us from a coaching standpoint, not looking at it as it's 1 to 2 to 3 with an alert here versus man, and if they do this, you can do that. Ultimately getting him to the point where's the ball probably going to go? Why are we calling this play? And if it's not there, climb the pocket, get vertical, and take off. And I think that's the biggest thing for him is from a simplification process, getting him to play fast, make quick decisions, and letting his natural ability take over.
So that's been such an important part of this offense all season long. He's a little bit banged up right now. So first, where have you seen, where's he at right now? And two, what have you seen out of the other running backs kind of in his absence a little bit?
Yeah, we know how physical this league is, and so I don't know how many true number one backs are just feeling great, So he's taken the reps he takes to get ready week in and week out. Again, we're extremely fortunate to have Dante here and what he's been able to add as a 1-2 combo there. And we've talked about the whole room. you know, as those guys, even the younger guys, being able, Jason, to really just keep building and getting better. So, again, Seth is a talented player. It's bigger than that from a leadership standpoint with him as well as what he brings to our offense. So we just got to get him healthy and get him going.
Coach, you said at one point in camp that Cam was kind of a surprise when he got some extra reps there. What did you all like about him in the recruiting process, and what's kind of stand out so he could get to this spot?
I think number one, when we evaluated him, it was almost like he was really great with the ball in his hands. He was constantly making guys miss. We talk about how do you create explosive plays, and that being one of them is high percentage throws, but when you get the ball to somebody, they do something with it. And I think he showed that time and time again on his film. He's a really rare human being. I don't know how much you guys have been around him, but he's probably one of the coolest kids we've had the opportunity of coaching. He's appreciative to be here. He's got a great attitude. And so, again, it's that mixture of player and person where when you get that and some of your better players or your better people, I think, you know, it starts jumping out to you.
What do you see from the Texas defense on film, and is there a guy or a couple of guys over there that really has your focus and attention?
Yeah, I mean, they're really good. They're really good. I think they're top 5 in scoring defense, top 10 in turnovers. I think they play extremely hard. I think the defensive end is one of the better defensive ends we'll play this year. I think there's a Mike linebacker who's outstanding. But overall, obviously, have a lot of history with Pete Kwiatkowski and know Pete Kwiatkowski well. They do a really good job of keeping the ball in front of them. There's not a lot of big plays down the field. They play sound. They play tough. It will be a great challenge for us.
The season is definitely a marathon. You mentioned you had 2 bye weeks, successes on offense, other games where you have struggled. Who's like the emotional leader of this core, kind of keeping things together, whether you're achieving everything you want to or maybe not meeting them all?
I think it's an emotionally resilient group. We've thought that about them as a whole from day one when we got started. I think the offensive line has always been a very mature group. They set the tone. I think you guys have been around those guys to know we can't ride the roller coaster, if you will, too high, too low. You see that week in and week out in this league now that everybody's playing actual SEC teams. And so I think it starts with them, and obviously, you know, a guy like Josh Caddis is another guy that comes to mind, Seth McGowan, guys that have been there, done that, know what it takes, and we rely on those guys.
A couple more. Anyone else? All right. Thanks, Coach.
Appreciate you guys.